Burr. I'm from Portland, born and raised. I grew up in the Columbia Villa, which is like the projects of Portland. Like if you know the Columbia Villa, you know that's where like all the low-income families lived at, especially after the Vanport floods. Black, white, Mexican families that were impoverished or that came from like the South to work on Vanport that survived the flood moved to the Columbia Villa that was built for us. My family moved there, and I remember living with my aunt, with my sisters and my mom, and we all lived with my aunt and her daughters, and we were doing okay. My mom was working odd jobs here and there, and my mom was also a prostitute, and so that's a part of her history. But basically, it was some trying times. But I'll rewind a little bit. Actually, just from the jump, like I was born in prison. Life for me started like crazy. I was born behind bars. Yeah. My mom was a prostitute back then, and she got picked up and attacked by Gary Ridgway. And if you don't know who that is, that's the Green River Killer. He killed several prostitutes from Oregon, Washington, and California up and down I-5. So my mom was 3 months pregnant with me at the time, and she would tell me how she was working the block and this van picks her up, and this guy, you know, looked really nice, like he had money and shit, picked her up and drove her over the I-5 bridge into Vancouver. And basically, he parked in a secluded area and started to attack her. And she's like 100 pounds soaking wet. You know, she's on crack, like, you know, I mean, literally like, frail, like a frame. And so she was like, all I could do was pray that this dude wouldn't hurt me. And she kicked him. And somehow she got him off her, broke out of the van, went running through a field. And she ended up in this couple's yard. And this white couple that came out with shotguns, like, what are you doing in our yard? The dogs were barking and stuff. And basically, she was like, this man's trying to kill me, help me. Looked back, and he was gone. He chased her for a while, but then, you know, he let up. And so they called the police. They called my grandma. The police came to the report. My grandma came and got her. And she's back on the block after that, like 2 weeks after. Went back to prison, went back to jail, and then she had me in prison in Salem, Oregon. So I was born out there. And then my grandma came and got me. And I went to go live with my 2 older sisters and my grandma's husband, which was not my real grandpa, it was her husband. And basically from like, as far back as I can remember to like about 7 years old, you know, I was sexually molested by this man who I thought was my grandfather, and he molested my sisters too. And basically he like threatened me, you know, if you ever say anything, I'm gonna kill you, your family, your grandma, this and that. That's horrible. And he kept, yeah, bro, it was crazy. Like, and he kept my grandma like high on pills all the time, so she was always out of it, super loopy all the time, didn't know what was going on. So if it wasn't for my oldest sister who like cooked for us and like, you know, made sure we dressed and went to school and stuff, like I don't know what we'd do, because my mom was out of the picture. She was in prison all that time. And so then she came and got us. Then we went to go live in the villa with my aunt and my 2 cousins. And then my mom, you know, she started selling dope. She was addicted to dope for a long time, and then she decided, I'm gonna start selling dope, get my money up, take care of my kids. So she did. Eventually we moved to the Deacon Courts, another hot spot that was kind of for like low income families, kind of project-ish kind of. And so she continued to sell dope there. She would take us to these NA meetings all the time because she was also like very heavy in the Narcotics Anonymous community. So basically she wanted to try to clean up her act, but still give the money. So, you know, we was in there all the time with her, experiencing the culture of NA and the steps and everything like that. So we kind of grew up in that program. And so basically, we moved from the Deacon Courts to 6th and Morgan block. And around that time, she met my stepdad, by the name of Big Time, and he was a big pimp from Boston. And so, you know, he had kind of like retired his ways, met my mom, and you know, he was also kind of in the drug game too. And so they kind of like really attracted to each other, and he became my stepdad. He was Muslim, and so he gave me a tape one time. I had a Walkman. He gave me a tape one time. It was an artist named Xavier, and to this day I still like I can't find the artist. I can't find the tape, like no record of him online. It's super weird, but that's weird. He gave me this tape, and he had the song about his mom and his life, and it was a sample of the Isley Brothers, For the Love of You. And basically the song was about his mom and how she was out struggling in the streets and collecting cans, and you know how he went to foster care and had to get on the plane to go see his dad, and his dad wasn't shit. And I mean, this whole like stuff that some things I'd already experienced, but stuff that I hadn't, and I was like, that's crazy. And so I remember memorizing the whole song because I liked the song a lot. It was really dope. And it was basically a singing hook and then like 3 rap verses, and basically they just progressed from verse to verse about his life and what he was going through. And so being a part of Narcotics Anonymous, my mom would throw these fashion shows / talent shows because she was really into fashion, and then she also loved to find new talent and let people perform and stuff in the community. So she put together this fashion show. I was like, Mom, I want to perform. I've been to several of them, but I was too shy to go up there and do anything. And so at this point, I was like, I really want to get up there and perform. I want to do this song. And she was like, are you sure? Like, she never even heard me do anything before. So I got up there and I put the track on. I recited this whole song. And when it was done, I had a standing ovation. Now, mind you, the song was so deep, and because of the people who, you know, go to Narcotics Anonymous, they all felt it. They all understood the song and, you know, what it was about. And so people were crying, like it was nuts. And that's kind of when I got bit by the bug. Like I knew that I wanted to be a musician. I was like, I gotta be a rapper. I gotta sing. Like I gotta do, because this is, you know, I love this feeling.
People can relate to it, man.
People can relate, exactly. And so it was that connection I had with the crowd that made me realize this is bigger than me. Like I know that, you know, and at the time I didn't realize what that meant, it being bigger than me, but I knew there was something there that I needed to do. And so basically after that I started, I grew up on 90s R&B, you know, the Genuines, Missy Elliott's, Jodeci, H-Town. Like I grew up on that kind of stuff, and then my mom introduced me to like E4D, The Click, and then like Master P and stuff. So like I was heavily influenced by that music, and I started writing my own music. And then my godbrother Black taught me how to form bars and count bars and then do hooks and verses. And so once I learned how to do that, it was over. It was a wrap. It was like, okay, now I'm doing my thing. Eventually, I learned about Brother LeChung, and I thought he was super dope. And my style started mimicking his, right? So basically, my mom, we moved to 6th Morgan. We were there for a while, for some years. And, you know, it was tough times because my mom was so dope still, but I felt like the love that I deserved as a kid, I wasn't getting. I felt like my mom had a vendetta against men because of things she'd been through, and she took a lot of it out on me. I was every name in the book. She didn't really physically abuse me, but there was a lot of verbal abuse, and so every name in the book. And you know, to me, I felt very unloved, so I decided that it was time to find my own way. I would watch like shows like Full House, Fresh Prince, Family Matters, and be like, I want that perfect family. Like that's what I really want, and I hope to find it one day. So I ran away at 12, and my stepdad a note and was like, give this to my mom, let her know I'll be all right, I'm gone. And I went to go live with my school counselor and her son, who was my best friend at the time. And living there was very different. You know, they were a Caucasian family and had very different values and a different way of life. And so they started to kind of teach me structure. But because I was such a rebel at the time, like I wasn't taking it in, and I was still living in my own like journey and path. And so I was just doing dumb shit and getting in trouble all the time. So eventually they kicked me out. But before they did, they introduced me to Weird Al Yankovic. I introduced to him, and I started writing songs like that, like parodies. I started writing parodies because I thought they were funny, and like I was funny back then, so I would redo songs and just do funny stuff like that and perform them for my family and stuff. So it was pretty dope. But eventually it got to a point where I wanted to do my own music. So I got kicked out of there. From there, it was like 7 foster homes, 4 different high schools. In the foster care system, I endured a lot of abuse, physical abuse, mental, sexual abuse. Like, it was crazy. And my caseworkers didn't really believe me because they labeled me a troubled teen. Like, they knew where I came from and my circumstances, and so they immediately put me as this kid who's just going through it, and you know, we can't believe him because he's a liar, this and that. So I'm doing all this stuff, and then music was the one thing that kept me sane. It like saved me because I wrote about everything. You know, I wrote songs about walking down the street, songs about going to school, being in class, hating my teachers. Like, I mean, notebooks is full of random songs that I wrote. And so when I was 14, I was living with my mom's godmom, who took me in as a foster kid, and very great lady. I mean, amazing person, really looked after me. and wanted me to win. And I'm 14 years old, and my cousin, who was her granddaughter, she was messing with this guy who had a record label, and she was like, oh, you know, my dude, Big D, he's really dope. You know, he got a label, this and that, he got artists, and I was like, man, show my music. Like, I had been in the studio once. Somebody took me to the studio one time and had this producer make me a beat. I did this song called Burns Like Lava, and it was really, really dope. My first, like, actual track in the studio. And so when I showed him the song, you know, he pulled up, I got in the car, showed him the song, and he was like, I mean, you know, it's cool, the song was cool, but you sound like Brother Lynch. And I was just like, damn. I was like, you know, I didn't get what he was saying, like, get your own style. I'm like, I got my own, I'm me, like, I got my own style. He was saying, get your own style, and we'll revisit. And so I felt a little defeated because that was my first no. After that, I was like, all right, I'm going to, you know, keep going, keep doing what I do. So then, eventually, like a year later, it was my second high school, and we had this class at the YMCA. It was like a PE class, and so we were going there, the one downtown, and I ran into him again, and it's like fate, I think, because I ran into him again, and he's like, you still doing music? I'm like, yeah, bro, I got you. I had a CD I was listening to. I gave it to him, put it in his CD player, and he was listening to it. He was just like, oh, he said, okay, you ready? I see you got your own style now. I started singing more, doing more stuff, and so he was like, I want to sign you. So I ended up rocking with him. It was Whyte Records, and that was the first label I ever been on. It was a local label, but there were so many dope artists on the team. You know, Bloods, Crips, like, I mean, it was like a whole family of people that like I looked up to, and he was like my big homies at the time. So I'm like, I'm feeling gassed, like, oh man, like I got this mafia family almost.
Yeah.
And basically, I was already Roulette. My first rap name was Young Pain, and then did Roulette because one of the group homes I was in, the person who ran the house, she kind of was doing it for the money, didn't really give a fuck about the kids. And there was a bunch of us, and so when I got there, the kids were like, some of the older kids were like, oh, we got to do initiation, blah, blah, blah. Some old weird cornball shit. And they passed the pistol around like, we're going to do Russian roulette. And I was just kind of like, I seen that in a movie before, but I didn't really fully understand it. Like what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, we're kids. And basically, come to find out later, there was no bullets in the gun. The gun didn't even work. It was some corny shit, but basically, they wanted to like scare me in like a scare tactic almost. And so we ended up doing it, played like around, and nothing happened, obviously. And so after that, I wanted to find a name that really fit myself, and I was like, oh, Roulette. I thought Russian roulette for it, but I ain't Russian, so it didn't make sense. But I was like, Roulette would be dope. So then when I got with Whyte Records, they're like, we're a mob style family, and we close. We like, you know, it's all about loyalty and respect. And so I want to add something to your name, and I'm like, what is it? And he was like, Delgato. And I was just like, Delgato, that's kind of tight. And then like Roulette Delgato just stuck. Like it just stuck, and that was my name. And so we started running with that. At this time, like, you know, I'm only 15 years old. I'm not driving or nothing like that, so I'm going to high school and shit. So I would, from North Portland, take the Max and the bus all the way out here to Southeast to like 122nd, get off and walk all the way down to Maine or whatever, a little past Maine, where the studio was. It was Walter Mitty Studio. It basically showed my dedication because, you know, some people never made a studio, had excuses and that. But I was always ready, always there, never missed a beat. Competition sometimes, like whoever writes the best verse gets on this song. And I mean, I was in there going ham, like really trying to prove my point. But at the same time, I had all these rappers I'm looking up to that I'm kind of like feeding off of and getting my style from. Like my big bro Scrap, he rapped really fast. He was really, really like, I mean, gassing. And then my bro Big D, hot on the hooks. And that's kind of where I got my hook came from. So I'm fusing this whole style together, but not purposely, just soaking up game. And then my bro ended up going to jail. D went to jail, so the label kind of fell apart. And then lost touch. And so a couple years go by. The foster care system definitely failed me, but then my last home that I was in, the Nelsons, they, you know, I had a black father and a white mother, foster mother and foster dad, and they really cared about my future and wanted to see me win. I dropped out of high school the year prior because I was just like done, like, you know, during the summer or the last couple of weeks of school, I was like, I'm done. And then they got me back in school. I was doing extracurricular stuff. Like, one of the incentives was the fact that my foster dad played in a blues band called Cold Blues, and he had a studio in the basement. And they lived in this Victorian mansion on 10th and going, and it was like mad levels, and so I was the first foster kid there. And actually, one of my friends from middle school, we weren't really friends, like we kind of didn't like each other, but like we knew each other and became cool later on in life. But it was their son, my foster dad's real son, and so he was there. We're the same age, so I had somebody I call a brother, like get my grades up, and you know, if you get your grades good, you can use the studio. That's what's the incentive. So I started killing it at school, like, 'cause I wanted to be in the studio rapping. Made a whole album. I mean, from there, I started passing them out at school and stuff, and people was like really feeling like, okay, you really like got skills, like you really dope. And for me, it was fulfilling because I didn't know if people would like really receive my music like that. And I was nervous that people wouldn't understand who I am as an artist. So basically, I graduated high school, got my own place, and at this time, my bro Big D from Westside found me and he got my number, and so we started talking again, and he was like, yo, my little cousin Priceless is running the label now, and I'm gonna put you back on, introduce you to him. So Priceless called me and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna come pick you up, this and that, we're gonna go get something to eat, we're gonna chop it up. He came and got me, I got in the car, and he looked in the rearview mirror and he's like, you look just like me, that's crazy, like you literally, like we could be real brothers. And so from that day on, we became super tight, and we kept running with the music and the label and started killing it, got all the old artists back together and stuff like that. Eventually, it just didn't really like work out the way everybody wanted to, because some artists felt like he wasn't running the label the same way D was, and this and that, and politics and all that. So everybody went their separate ways, but I stayed with Priceless and my bro Prophecy, and they was TBKS. They were a group called TBKS, and so I stayed rocking with them, and we just, you know, started killing the game. And before, like, my music had always been good, but my performances were not. So the problem was I would literally like rap and just look at the floor and just stand in one place, and so I didn't have the confidence yet. And Priceless being a way bigger dude, you know, a big boy, like at the time myself, he was like, man, you gotta know how to work the stage, like you're a monster, like you gotta throw that weight around. And so him and my big bro Prof, they literally like instilled this like monster, like performance monster into me, and taught me how to really work the stage, work the crowd, and get everybody hyped with what I was doing. And from there, it went off. And so we had a couple issues. I think basically I thought I was ready to put out a project, and he had other plans. He wanted to do things a little different, and I was rebellious. I was too rebellious. So I ended up putting together a project with my best friend, Lindsay, at the time. She was already with Iceberg Entertainment, which Priceless started Iceberg Entertainment, and I had left and came back to Iceberg, and they had Lindsay on the squad. Me and her became like best friends, and then I decided that I wanted to put a project out, and she'd help me. So we kind of went behind his back and started making a project and stuff, and then he found out and got mad. We both got fired. So at that point, I was like, damn, okay, like, what are we gonna do? So we started Diamond Cut ENT. But before that, when I left from Westside, when Price was running it, I went over to Hard Times Records, and that was based out of Eugene, and that was ran by Kane. And Kane was a rapper out there in Eugene. We had met in Portland doing a show, and he was really digging my flow, like, yo, if things don't work out over here, let me know, come rock with us, this and that. And I had never been to Eugene before, so my first time out there, I took a bus down there, and I remember because a friend of mine had just got murdered, this girl named Marissa. We were really tight, and her boyfriend actually murdered her. So on my way down there, I'm talking to my friends on the phone, like, man, I can't believe this is happening. Like, my friend just got killed, then I'm on the bus on my way to Eugene, like, to this new family of people who I don't really know that well, but like I'm, finna go experience. And I got down there, and it was Kane, it was Tommy Boy, who was a producer, and then it was Young D and Tay-Boy the Playboy and Chase, and they were Young Gangsta Poets, YGP.
Okay.
And so I became the new guy on the squad, and I'm like, this is my first time like really being in a whole nother city, like, and I hadn't traveled at all prior to this, so to me this was like a big deal. And so I'm out there, and it's a college town, so I'm I'm like meeting hella people, and once people hear me rap, they're like, oh my god, who is this dude like out here with, and I was wearing contacts at the time, hazel contacts. Who is this guy with the hazel eyes like out here like killing it, like, and at that time, you know, I was still fucking with bitches, so like I had hella chicks on me, like it was crazy. Eugene was like magic. It was literally like magic, and that's why I gained a core of my fan base and people who really fucking my music. And so I started having issues with one of the people in YGP, Young D, which is like still my bro today, but back then we had a lot of issues, and you know, we ended up falling out because he didn't want to produce for me, because I think I started getting a lot of shine and stuff like that, and he thought that I was cocky, and I wasn't. I was always humble, but because of the level I was getting, he was just kind of like, hell no, I ain't doing no beats for him. So that happened. So then I ended up leaving Hard Times, went back to my bro Price, and that's when they had Iceberg, and I met Lindsay, and we did my project, and we got fired from Iceberg, and then we started Diamond Cut ENT, and then I had, and then Tay-Boy the Playboy and Young D came, and Tommy Boy came to rock with me on Diamond Cut ENT in Portland, and that's when it was like the Rockstar era, like Party Like a Rockstar came out, that song, and everybody wearing like skulls and chains on their pants, and you know what I'm saying, like it was that era, so we was like the neighborhood rock stars, like we just was doing all kinds of shows and going to all the parties, turning up, having fun, like we were them dudes. And then things got to a point where all the artists that we were all together, oh, and my cousin Shaughnessy, the Diamond Cut Princess, Shaughnessy's a singer, she's rocking with us too, and basically Young D, Tay-Boy, and Tommy Boy all kind of felt like things weren't moving as fast as, you know, they wanted them to. There were promises made that didn't happen, and like, you know what I mean, like trying to run a label at that age was hard because we didn't have the capital to really make it happen. Like now you look around, you see all these labels and teams, and everybody is like, oh, we doing it, we the ones, but people don't really have the capital to like invest in artists and really like do what you need to do to blow them up. So that's where I was, and so they got upset, they ended up leaving. And of course I was like devastated because these are my brothers, like, you know, we kind of like, we had grown together so much and we're doing so much, and I was sad, you know, but at the same time it was like, all right, learning lesson, we got to move forward. And so, or rewind a little bit, I met my brother, my big brother Perry. My actual name is Perry, my real name. My dad and my grandpa are Perry. And so when I was younger, my mom used to tell me all the time that I had a brother named Perry that lived in Beaverton, which I was like a myth around my house, like I didn't know who was real or not, but she was like, yeah, you got a brother named Perry, he's older than you, this and that. And so one time I was at school, I was going to Whitaker, and in 6th grade I had a substitute teacher, and she was like, hey, you know, she was calling roll, and she was like, hey, I have a student named Perry Lambert in Beaverton that I teach, you guys look just alike. And I was just like, no way. She was like, no, yeah, like, you guys look just alike. I said, give me his number. She's like, I can't. So I gave her mine to give to him, which she wasn't supposed to do either, but she did. And so he ended up calling me one night, and we started talking about, like, you know, family and stuff like that, and our stories, and they matched up. So then I went to go meet him at his job, and I had to be like 10 or 11. This was before I ran away, so I was young. But me and my sister would be on the bus all the time, going everywhere. My mom would give us money and get out of her face, like she wanted to kind of, you know, shoo us off. So I was always in the streets anyway. So basically, on the bus, went to the Lloyd Center, to Mr. Rags, where he used to work at. And when I saw him, I was like, oh, that's clearly my brother. We look way too much alike. Like, that's and we became tight ever since. And so, fast forward, I started hanging with my brother a lot more. And basically, he was like, oh, he wanted to invest in my music. So he got a loan. And he invested in my first actual professional studio album. And so the antidote, because it was basically like, this is what the game's missing. This is what the game is sick. I got the antidote. And when the album came out, it didn't do like crazy numbers, but the buzz was like crazy because people were waiting for a project for me, and it spoke so much about like my upbringing and where I'm from and like what I've been through and like just everything that I've seen, and people could understand me now. That's the way I felt. And so the album didn't do crazy sale wise, but it created a buzz that got people talking about me for sure. So after that, I did that album, and then one of my brother Perry, one of his friends, was like, yo, I'm rocking with this squad out in New Mexico called Fatfish Records, and they really liked your song Shine Time on the album and want you to redo the song for one of their projects, a compilation, and another song too. I was like, oh, that'd be dope. And they sent me the beat. I did it. They really loved it, and they were like, how would you feel about signing into Fatfish? And I was just like, oh man, for real, like all the way to New Mexico, hell yeah, let's do it. And so at that time, that's the furthest I'd ever been, like Eugene or something. So then when they're like, come to New Mexico, I was like, hell yeah. So I flew out there, and the owner of the label was Bundles the Billionaire, and then the co-owner was Bamboozle the boss. And there were more artists on the label too that really fucked with me. And so now I'm in New Mexico trying to like figure my way around and like, but at this time I'm like broke. Like not working a job, broke as fuck, hustling enough to like pay my rent and shit like that, but I really didn't have it like that. So they would fly me out. Sometimes I'll go out there like and not have a whole lot of money, so I'm calling my friends like, yo, send me this, send me that, don't you owe me such and such? Like I need that bread right now because I ain't doing good out here. But it didn't stop the music. It was just like I didn't want to be like the broke one in the crew who's like always asking for something or like need somebody to buy me some food or whatever. But they didn't really mind that. But I could tell it was kind of like talk about hustling in your songs. Where's the hustle at? My thing is I didn't want to sell dope no more. Like it's the part that I skipped. My mom taught me and my sisters how to cook dope, cut dope, bag it, sell it. So that was how I got money. And basically I was young, in high school hitting licks, nickel and diamond, saying nothing big, no bricks or nothing like that, but nickel and diamond, and really, getting twos and fews, but get my money up enough to like pay bills and shit like that. And so once I started going out there, I wasn't working, so but I maintained like my level of relevance to the music, and so I was out there killing stuff. And then my dumb ass, I ended up meeting this dude named Gene, who said he was like a music agent. He represented some models out in Portland and some other people, some artists and stuff like that. So we met and started booking me shows and stuff. So I'm booking shows now. We're riding around in limos and limo service and getting picked up and this and that. Like it's great. It seems really dope. And so when I told him I'm signed to a label in New Mexico, Fatfish, oh, let me see your contract, this and that. So I showed it to him. I'm naive at this time. Like had I known what I know now, things probably would have been a lot different because I allowed somebody to get into my business and fuck up what I had going on. Smarter than that. So basically, he read the contract, called me in for a meeting like a week later and was like, oh, this contract is predatory, you're not getting no money, you're this and that, and I believed him because I didn't know the game. I didn't know the business like that. So I'm like, all right, fuck. So he calls, Bundles and it's like, yo, man, you got him in this contract and I'm his agent now, this and that, and of course that's gonna ruffle feathers. Like, it's like, first of all, who is this dude calling my phone about my artists that I signed, that I've been flying out here, feeding, housing, doing all this stuff for, and now this random dude calling my phone talking about his contract predatory? Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Now, at the time, my brain didn't register that. It was more so like, okay, he's doing me a favor, he's trying to help me out, this and that. Maybe we can all pull this together. Man, he fucked up everything. Like, at that point, I think they kind of stopped believing in me. I was moving funny. I was moving funny, and I think they were just like, nah, bro, like, we can't have that. So they pretty much stopped fucking with me. So then I kind of felt defeated. I felt really defeated. I was on my own. I still have my cousin trying to rock with me. And then the Cut Boys, well, Young D and Tay Boy became the Cut Boys. They started fucking with me too. And we were just, just doing music stuff, but like as family, not like a team or a label. We just rocking. So after Fatfish, I felt stuck. Like I didn't know what I was doing. And time had just gone on. I had done a couple collaborative projects with certain artists, like Portland George. We had did some songs together. Some historic songs that we did. Like we used to have the crowd rocking. Shout out to Syndicate Mob because we had rocked together closely for a long time. Him, Monster, it was a bunch of us. So basically, we have been rocking, but then things got weird. So this is kind of where like me coming out and stuff like started kind of like transpiring. So I had this producer named 89 Beats who I had met in Eugene when I was out there a long time ago. Literally like for a hot split second at a party, he was like, "Oh, I make beats and that." I heard the beats, they were like, and I was like, you know, let me know when you know, kind of advance because they're not really my style. So then, all these years later, the same person contacted me online, like, "Yo, what's up? I'm still making beats. Let me send you something." They sent me a beat. It was up-tempo, Lady Gaga kind of like fast beat that I thought was dope because I like that kind of music too. And so I did a song called "Go" to the beat, and then in this process, he starts like hitting on me. And so in my mind, I'm like, it's a joke. Like, is he playing or like? Because I've never told anybody that I was bi at all. Like, that's who I am. But I never told anybody before because I was never gonna come out. And then I fell for it, fell in the trap. So we started talking, and he decided he wanted to move to Portland from North Carolina. So he moved here, and he had all this baggage I had no idea about. He was dealing with a lot of stuff mentally, and basically he came to stay with me. I had a roommate at the time. I didn't really tell my roommate like, "Yo, I got my partner coming out from out of town, come stay with us." He just kind of showed up and was there, and so it caused like issue with me and my roommate. And then basically me and 89 Beats, you know, we started fucking around like on the low, and nobody really knew. And then he was already out of the closet, like he had came out to all my friends and stuff like that, and I acted surprised like I didn't know, of course. And so we do this big like birthday coming out party with him, and everything's great, it's good. And then things just started getting too serious because he started like catching feelings, and I wasn't. And at the time, or maybe I was, I wasn't ready for all that at the time because I'm like, I'm in the closet, like I'm a hood rapper, like you can't, that's not who I am. So then I got into it with a friend of mine, like she's one of my best friends. I've been having conversations with her and telling her all of my business. I mean, from the conversation before he got there, when he got there, shit we were doing, like, mind you, I had a girlfriend at the time, and we were like off and on for 6 years. So when we were off, me and him were on. And then when me and him, you know, had issues, I go back to her. Like, it was like a back and forth thing. And so basically, the rumor started circulating because she would get mad and post stuff online. "Oh, Roulette and 89 Beats are doing this and that, yada yada." And he would make fake pages and send messages to people like, "Oh, this Roulette's doing this and that." Like, I mean, really trying to out me. And come to find out, he was trying to out me because he thought that if he did, we'd be together. So that, I was very suicidal at the time. Like, I didn't want to live. I was scared. Like, I'm like, I can't. There's no way I can be out here doing music, being a rapper, and be gay. Because who's going to support me? Who's going to want to buy my music or come to my shows and that? And so things just got too real. He was on pills for a while, then heroin. Then he robbed a bunch of banks and went to prison. So he was out of my life at that time, and I was happy because now I can escape this bullshit. Finally, I think that year, I decided that it was just time for me to be honest and tell my truth because I was tired. And so me and my ex-girlfriend went on Divorce Court, the TV show. I didn't plan on coming out on the show, but it ended up just happening. And then once I did, I came back. We shot the show in August, that summer, August 2014. It didn't come out until October. So that summer, right after filming the show, I was living in Atlanta. I flew back, I got sick. My mom flew me back. And then I was here in town for like a couple of weeks and then went chasing some dude to South Dakota. A cornball ass dude who I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but like, I think mentally I was so all over the place that I thought like this was home, this is comfort, and somebody that I met and I thought like I really wanted to be with. And so I'm in South Dakota for months. You know, I originally went down there to work the Sturgis rally, which is like a big motorcycle rally. I went down there to do that at a popcorn stand that his friend owned, and I didn't want to leave, so I ended up staying. And the popcorn truck left me there, so I was just down there stuck. But I didn't care. Like, I have somewhere to live. I'm working a job. Like, and to me, this is crazy. I'm like, damn, I'm really out here working a whole job, like, in South Dakota. Like, what am I doing? So then I finally made enough money to buy a ticket back home, a bus ticket back home, which was like 3 days. A whole 3-day trip. That shit was crazy as fuck. And then I got home like 2 days before the show aired. And when it aired, it caused so much controversy and people talking and it's all kind of crazy shit. And so after that, I hit under a rock for like 3 months. I was nervous, scared, suicidal, didn't want to live, like, didn't want to be around people, my family, nobody. And so the way I look at it and what I always say is I didn't lose any friends because my real friends are like still rocking me right now, still my real ones. But a lot of people turn their backs on me, you know. And the mistake that I did make, I would say, is that I always said Portland turned their backs on me. And it wasn't Portland, it was just people who just don't understand who I am or support my lifestyle, which, fuck them. Yeah. At the end of the day, fuck them, because, I mean, you know, what I eat don't make them shit. I mean, they're not paying my rent, they're not doing nothing for me, so it shouldn't matter. But in the grand scheme of things, being an artist in the public eye, it mattered to me. So I basically was just like, you know, I'm done. Fuck it, fuck everybody. I'm gonna hide under this rock and I'm gonna just do me. So it got to a point where I think finally I was just tired of hiding. And then I finally said, fuck that, I'm gonna live my truth and be me, and I'm gonna love myself again. And so it's so ironic because once I realized that I was gonna be okay, and I realized that I'm the controller of my own destiny and I'm gonna be good, is when I met Dollar D. And Dollar D is a producer and a rapper and singer from Canada, from Kelowna, BC. So I haven't been talking to this dude for a long time. This other cat who I met was in the closet, and he had a girlfriend and shit. So like, basically we was fucking around, and she didn't know, and she thought we was just like best friends, and it was a whole ordeal that I regret today, but at the same time I don't, because like, life is life, and the nigga lied to me and lied to her, so it is what it is. But basically, I got my heart broke. That was I think my first real like heartbreak. And then I wrote a song called Dilemma. And so I'm in my bathroom singing this song, like recording myself singing the song after I wrote it, just to put it online, see what people think and stuff like that. Because a lot of my music is based on my life and things that I've been through and endured. So for me, it was like therapy. It was like therapy. So I wrote this song, I'm in my bathroom singing it, and I put it online. People are fucking loving it, because it was one of the first times people really heard me like actually sing. Like, but like not on a track, but just like actually singing, you know, without studio and stuff. So people liked it and stuff, and it started getting shares. Somehow, some way, it got shared enough to where Dollar D saw it in Canada and reached out to me like, yo, the song is dope, like, would you want to do some hooks for us and stuff like that? And I was just like, yeah, it'd be dope. So we started talking every day. Excuse me. And then eventually sent me some beats and started recording music for them. And we sent them back and forth. And it was like this it was almost like fate, again, meant to be. Like, I feel like I manifest stuff, but also things just be like coming to me, like, because of my path and my journey already. And so basically we started working together a lot, and then he was like, yo, get a passport, you know, come to Canada, come be a part of Street Kings ENT. I'm like, damn, Street Kings, that's dope. Okay, I think I want to do that. And so then finally I got my passport. I go up there. My first time I took the Greyhound bus up there, and meeting them for the first time was crazy because they didn't know anything, like the TV show, nothing. They didn't know that I was on the divorce court, that I came out of the closet, none of that. So basically, you know, it was like a fresh start. And I didn't really want to come out to them, because I felt like now I can go back to being the Roulette I was before and not worry about nothing. But in the back of my mind, I was like, damn, like, what, like, we're all connected on Facebook now. What if somebody says something, or they see something that's like, yo, that dude y'all rocking with is blah, 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 and then they get upset and you lied to us and that. So it was all like a whole mental thing for me. So I go up there, They picked me up from the station, and it's instant, like, you know that feeling where you get where you meet somebody and you know it's like you know them all your life. Like it was like that. Like I felt like family, and they just took me in and we started doing music. And basically, they have been known in Kelowna, BC, for this song called Kelowna-fornia, and it was really big on the radio out there. They had done a lot of great things with different artists. Like their artist lineup was crazy, but they had at the time they had kind of slowed down a little bit and wasn't doing a whole lot. And they would tell me like, yo, when you came, you lit the fire under us, and everything just started moving hella fast. So we're just killing the game up there, doing hella stuff, like really killing it, from Vancouver, BC to Kelowna. And I was there for like a month. Like I didn't come home for like a month because first of all, I didn't want to come home because just the scenery itself in Canada is crazy beautiful. Like it was like refreshing. Like just being out there was therapeutic itself. And so I ended up staying there, and we got a lot of music done, you know. And my second time up there, they pushed me to write a song about. Well, first of all, my first time up there, I was at the grocery store with my sister Kayla, who was Dali's wife, Misconduct, and she's a rapper too. And so we were just talking, and I just felt the need to just tell her like, look, okay, so I have something like I tell you, like, this is crazy, but understand, like, you know, I'm just being honest, transparent, because I don't want to keep no secrets from you guys. But, you know, I was on a TV show called Divorce Court. I came out of the closet, I'm bi, and, you know, I want you to know because I don't want to hide nothing from y'all, and I don't know how to tell everybody else. And she just laughed. She was just like, well, it's fine. Like, nobody's going to care. And that. I'm like, are you sure, though? Like, just because everybody has this tough guy thing, like, and I don't want to be the thing that people are like, nah, we don't, you know, not even knowing that Canada is so accepting, so loving, so, I mean, it could have been, you know, it was a perfect time, you know. So I got back to the house, I told Ali, and then he started, you know, he asked me if I wanted him to tell the rest of the team. So he did start calling people, letting them know this and that, but the immediate team first. And then he told me that I should write a song about it. And so I ended up writing a song called Tangled. Around that time, there was the mass murder at the Post nightclub in Florida. And so I did a song dedicated to them. And I shot the video in Vancouver, BC on Granville. And Granville was kind of like the main strip in Vancouver. And it's like like Vegas almost, but it's all lit up and streets are blocked off. You can walk up and down the middle of the street. Like, it's really dope. But I did a video, and it was very emotional. Just really, really dope video about coming down, how I felt, and how, you know, how I would think my family would take it and stuff like that. And it was nuts. And so people start hearing the song and understanding, like, you know, oh, okay, that's Roulette. Oh, damn, well, we didn't know that. And I started building a fan base in Canada, and that's how, like, that happened. And so now I have like mad family fans up that way. I did a bunch of radio interviews up there on Queer Radio FM, a bunch of the stations, and just I really started getting known up there. And then things up there just kind of basically, like, there were a lot of artists on the team, and me feeling like I lit the fire, and feeling like I guess kind of pushed, like, came with this major push, felt like I should have been doing more, and a lot of opportunities would come, and then they were given to other people, and then I was like, damn, okay, but at the same time, like, all right, some of them been around longer than me, so I get that, I understand, but then I felt like there wasn't enough attention being paid to me, and I feel like I should have been pushed a little harder, but there were just too many of us, so I ended up leaving Street Kings, and then me and my bro Taylor Fresh started The Switch, which is another group, and then I signed to another label up there. I'm called Elite Player ENT with my bro Phase. So I got mad connections up there, like, literally, and some of the biggest promoters up there. Shout out to Chelsea Grobins, like, who's an amazing promoter. Like, I spread my wings a lot, you know what I mean? And so after coming back home, it was about independence and just doing me. So I started doing me for a long time. And
ended up linking up with my guy Ryan Reed in Half-Life ENT, with him, Max V. Payne, Canitis, Carmaria, my bro Just Wild, who's co-boned at the time. And that was like a whole new family. And so, as you can see, I've been on like hella different like teams and labels. And so, because I'm always seeking that family aspect. It's almost because I feel like I never had it growing up. So I'm always seeking this whole family aspect thing. And at the time, things were going really good. Like, you know, it was basically I got with them. Ended up performing at the Moda Center with Ice Cube, Genuine, E40, Baby Bash, and that band. That was crazy, 20,000 people. And I won a contest doing that with Jammin' 107.5. And I pretty much beat out all the other artists that were, you know what I'm saying, in the contest, from the votes down to the performances. Which, mind you, some of them now are doing fucking amazing. Like, shout out to Soul Luna, number one, because Soul Luna is like killing the game. Like, I'm proud of that dude. Because at first, me and him, we didn't really, I thought we didn't get along. There was just some stuff said that I didn't like, and people be in your ear saying, oh, so Luna said this and that, and I'm just like, why would like, what? Like, for what? Like, I won, like, I fairly, like, I did my thing, but there was some stuff that I heard that about, like, oh, he won because one of the judges is gay, Sharista Tyree, you know, who's a comedian. Oh, he won because she's a judge, this and that. And I'm like, no, I won because I made, basically we all had to perform at the iHeartRadio building in front of a crowd. And the voting was based on certain things. Crowd control, originality, things like that. You know, I came being me. Nails was painted, hair was dyed blonde. I had on a jacket with no shirt underneath, on my big boy shit like I always do. And I made that night, I made that contest my concert. It was my show. I made it my show, and that was the thing. And so people thought that I cheated or I didn't win fair and square. So I heard a bunch of stuff, and then after that, you know, I had ran into Soul Luna and chopped it up with him. I was like, look, bro, all this shit is bullshit. I don't care about none of it, bro. Like, you're obviously doing major. He was doing shit back then. Like, his numbers have always been crazy. Like, so I didn't understand why he would say something like that. So that's when I realized, like, that's clearly some bullshit. Like, he didn't say none of that. It was somebody basically saying something to me, this and that. So we cleared the air and been cool ever since. And so shout out to him because he's killing shit right now. And Samuel the First. Shout out to Samuel the First. He's super dope. But yeah, so shit's just been, you know, after that, we were doing really good. Ended up leaving Half-Life because some internal stuff that was going on. That just a lot of headbutting. I think I have a problem with authority, and I have an issue with being told like how to do stuff or when to do stuff like that. So I decided that I didn't want to be under anybody's authority anymore. So I left Half-Life, and then basically Gato Gang was born. And I started doing shows with my bro Just Wild, Canitis came along, and we just started rocking together as bros and like making noise. And then I met Glam Doll, who is like one of my proteges. I'm her mentor. She's super dope rapper, songwriter, and she was doing her thing. So after that, it just became like no more labels, no more teams, we just rocking together. But Gato Gang was like born though. It just happened to be a thing. And so eventually I started making more noise, doing stuff, and then my fashion changed, like started making my own clothes again and just really dipping into my creativity bag. And you know, Instagram very heavy. And so I started seeing Zeus Network. Now Zeus Network is like one of the top urban apps right now. I mean, they're like number 4 or 5 on Apple store charts. Like, amazing numbers. They got like Baddies West, which used to be Bad Girls Club. One More Chance with Chance Stallionaires from I Love New York. I mean, all these different great shows. Jocelyn's Cabaret, you know, Jocelyn, her dad is from Love and Hip Hop. So it was an amazing network. You know, $1 million company, so multi-million dollar company. So I saw an ad for Bad Boys Club, and I decided to audition. Didn't get it, and I was like, fuck, okay. So then I saw an ad for a show, Bobby Lights, dating show. Bobby Lights is Trina's cousin from Love and Hip Hop Miami, and so I've always thought, you know, Bobby was cute. I'm like, oh, I think he's dope, and I want to, you know, see what's up, shoot my shot. So I auditioned for the show, and I got it. And like, they hit me up like, yo, and what's crazy is I was working a job at the time, and I basically just said that, you know, I was there for like a year and a half, and decided that I was tired of working. I'm ready to do music full time. For my 2 weeks in, and my last day of work, I got a text back from Zeus Network saying we want to work with you. So I got the gig. I flew out to Miami, lived in a house with like 13 other dudes, and we were all fighting for Bobby Lights. And it's crazy because I had never experienced anything like that before in my life. Like, here I am filming a reality show, you know, not knowing what I'm getting myself into, but once I got there, I could tell who was the villain. I could tell who was like the nice guy, who was this, who was that, and ultimately who was going to win the show, because it was like you could just kind of see how things were working. But one thing I did not expect was to become a fan favorite, and they named me Big Burr on the show. And one thing I was known for on the show was my drip, because a lot of the things I wore was stuff that I made. My own drip, always, you know, look good, smell good, felt good. My personality, I didn't really fight a lot on the show, like, because to me, like, it's not me, but at the same time, I got into some altercations where I almost got into a fight, so, like, things got heated. But the show aired, like, my Instagram blew the fuck up. Like, my first Instagram, my Roulette Delgato one, got hacked and canceled, so that was devastating, because I had, like, you know, I went from having like 4,000 followers to like 7,000 after the show aired, after like a week. And then it got deactivated. So I started a new one under Big Burr, and that one shot up to like now, you know, 32.4K. So ever since doing the show, doors are really open. I'm getting ready to do my own dating show now. That's coming soon. Can't really say much more about it, but that's getting ready to happen. I basically have just been staying busy, grinding, like, and working on my craft, because, you know, this ain't it. Like, there's still so much more I gotta do, and so much more I'm gonna do. I want to win a Grammy. I want an Oscar. Like, I want an EGOT, except for like a Tony, because I don't want to do Broadway. But you know, I want the other ones, and I want to just do so much. Like, my mom, she instills so much grind and hustle into me, and she literally, like, is my angel now. She died 4 years ago.
My condolences.
And I keep her, thank you, around my neck. Take her everywhere. I took her to the Moda Center stage, on the show with me, everywhere. Like, you know, she's my angel. And I feel like she's doing more for me now than she could ever do when she was here. And she be blessing me, like, you know. And it's crazy, because all these opportunities that have been coming, you know, I like foresee them almost. Like, sometimes I have vivid dreams about doing stuff and they happen. It's so weird. So that's kind of where I am now, man. Just staying busy with music and grinding my ass off, bro, and just really making it happen, because there's so much more to come for, you know, Big Burr, Roulette Delgato. You know, like, I don't know, it's all gonna happen in due time, but right now it's just about grinding, staying busy, and being humble. If any advice I can give people, stay humble, please. Like, I know we all talented, we all want to make it, we all want to do major shit, but being humble is what's gonna get you there. You know, sometimes people feel like, oh, I gotta be cocky and step on people. You don't. Like, I've been out in LA so many times, rubbing shoulders. I got people on the line that can change my life, but I'm not rushing nothing. I'm being humble. I'm doing my thing, getting ready to move to LA, and I'm staying grounded, keep my head out of the clouds, because one thing about it is you gotta be smart enough to know what you're doing, and you gotta take advantage of opportunities too, and not be scared to move when it's time to move. So that's where I'm at.